Okay, the August 17th, 2016 meeting of the Board of Siuslaw Valley Fire and Rescue is now called to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Julie, take the roll call, please.
Director Scott,
Present.
Director Carnahan,
Present.
Director Yates. Here. Director Woodbury,
Here.
Director Phillips.
Here.
We have a quorum. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the July 20th meeting. Is there any discussion?
I'll move to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second? We have a second. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay.
I was not here, so I was
Communications, I think the only thing we had was from ambulance.
Yeah, there's an email, and then there was just some information sharing from Rob Mills, who did your assessment. He mentioned this particular board in an article he's submitting to us.
That's what that was.
It's included in-
So it sounded like we passed anyway, huh?
Yeah.
I didn't see a pass or fail on that, so that was our board evaluation.
And he has yet, not chief's visit, but he has yet to give me his, share that when I get it.
Okay. This is the time for public comment. There being none, old business. Chief, do you have?
I'll just briefly go through the chief's report. Won't go into it in detail, but if you have questions, you know what's on there, or want additional information, you know. Strategic plan, we're continuing right now to focus heavily on the ISO. So that's mainly, at this time, preparing records. They're getting ready to interface with dispatch. Correct is the next portion, and they've been doing quite a few fire flows. I think that's all completed at this time. Later in this report, but it does apply to ISOs. We did get the auto-aid agreement signed, so that's in place. We'll be conducting training on that. Hope that have that up and running by January. Hopefully, policy review. I guess we talked about that at the end. The two policies that we have. Administrative IGA. We can let Director Carnahan make any comments on that he'd like. He's the chair of the AAC. We had our first meeting last week. Essentially, the duties that were the agenda focused on just establishing what the guidelines were, a process improvement, format, and just general business, electing a chair, etc. They did elect two citizen members, a primary, John Murphy, and a secondary, Larry. Director Carnahan, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think they covered it. We went down the list pretty well.
Cost recovery, I am still waiting on some policies. The company that we would like to contract with, that we're making the recommendation to you to contract with, has done a similar thing with other fire districts. In one district in particular, the name is escaping me right now, but it's up in the Marion County area, has already established a number of these policies and those types of things. They want to give me those to utilize for your review and consideration, but before they do that, they want to get permission. They haven't been able to get permissions. I hope to have those by the end of this week, and unfortunately didn't happen in time for this. So get that to you as we go. Operations selection, operations chief selection process. So we've already had the civil service meeting. They made the recommendation to approve. The job description is going to be before you here in a little bit. And depending on what tonight's outcome is, we're basically ready to go, open it up tomorrow, start the process. I believe September 24th off the top of my head is the projection testing date, with a goal of having the person online by the end of October. FEMA grants, we were advised we did not get either the fire hose or the command rescue vehicle grant. Chief Barrett's requesting more information, although we did get an email requesting bank account information regarding the Saber grant. So it was not an approval letter, but apparently that is a positive sign. Seismic grant, we had the architect come in a few weeks ago and we've begun the process. They are also going to do the Western Lane ambulance building. They've included that into the overall price, and right now I'm waiting to get back a way to quantify what that is. I think that I'm estimating it's going to save for us between $1,000 and $1,500 off the original bill, so we will be over. And as requested, we will bring forward, when we get that exact cost, we'll bring forward the resolution that you've requested, but we didn't want to do that until we had an actual number, so I'm waiting to hear back from the architect on that. And that's it. Any questions?
Thank you, sir. The operation chief. Is he hiding back there? I was trying to see you back there, boy.
So, once again, I submitted you my report, and I'm just here to answer any questions if you have any. Any questions on training or calls or?
Marvin, could you mention when the next recruit academy is going to be, and the fact that we're bringing on a couple of new volunteers?
So we had a couple volunteers didn't quite make it through the last academy, but remain interested and enthusiastic about it. Jeff has done some special training with those folks and brought them in, and they should actually be on the line as firefighter ones prior to this academy getting started. So kudos to Jeff for that. And the next fire academy, Jeff, when is your start date?
November 5th.
November 5th. And it's going to be a firefighter 1 academy, and he's put out flyers all over town and getting the information out. So he's hoping to have a good sized class this time. You haven't got a lot of applications in yet, right?
Not yet.
So we need to get the word out that we're looking for people, and we're going to have a great academy once again.
So the people that you worked with, just preparing them a little more for that?
So they were going through an entry-level academy and they didn't quite make it through completely. The final test was pulling a pre-connect and going and actually putting the fire out. I didn't feel quite confident to put them in that situation, so I shut them off right there. And ever since I've been working with them, pulling pre-connects at least 2 times a week, repetition, and then they'll graduate as firefighter 1s after this. They've done the car extrication, they've done wildland, everything up until then, so they're covered up to that.
So they seem having that repetition then has helped them.
Definitely, yeah.
Increase them.
They've changed a lot,
Okay.
and it's actually helped the other firefighters we have now to work together with them, and we've learned a lot from each other, so.
Okay.
And Jeff, would you also
Very
throw
cool.
in where we're at with getting the other people to the firefighter 1 level?
So we have 9 black helmets out there right now. As of yesterday, we had more repetitions, but I think I have 5 literally needing like maybe 2 sign-offs. One of them is completely done. They just need to get in hold of one of the captains and have them sign off. They have dates and everything, so they're pretty close.
So those 9 are entry-level firefighters that we want to get into yellow helmets, which is a firefighter, and the firefighter 1. So he's got 5 of them just teetered on the line to switch over to the yellow helmet and have be certified as a firefighter 1. And then the other 4 are not too far behind.
They're all right in there. They've all been working really hard, which is great. Between I and the other captains and even the paid staff, they've come in and we coordinate and change days, and so it all works out.
So you have black, and the next level is yellow. Do you have anything after that? Or is it just
Just red for the captains,
Red for the cap,
and then
okay,
white
okay.
for chief
the
officer.
chief? Okay.
Well, congratulations.
Yes,
You've done a
awesome.
good job
Yeah,
with
thank you.
class.
I'm glad you were able to do that with those individuals. That's nice.
Marvin, I noticed in there that we're picking up an ambulance. for-
Yeah, they actually picked it up today.
Oh, did they?
They traded it today, and we're gonna do an evaluation of that vehicle, and we'll know a lot more in a few days. There was, a few issues with it right off the bat. We don't know if they're serious or if they're minor fixes.
Yeah.
But we haven't dove into it yet. But hopefully it'll be like the Humvee. The Humvee, basically, we just put some hose on it and everything worked, and it's in service right now.
Super.
We're gonna order some decals for the Humvee. We have ordered decals for the Humvee, and it should be stickered up, ready to go. And basically, we didn't have the only money we're putting into it is the stickers. And we're hoping the ambulance is gonna be a similar venture.
Yeah, well, and stationing it, down on Clear Lake should be just a great thing. If you think about it, there isn't an ambulance down there as far as I know. Is there anywhere?
Well, there's not, this will only be used as an ambulance in disasters.
Yeah,
mass
at least there's
accidents.
one down there because the
Right.
bridges go on both ends.
Right. Yeah, if the bridge went, we could, Western Ambulance could get employees over there, and then they could use that vehicle.
Just to get them back to the one end or the other to ferry them across or whatever it is.
Correct.
Great.
Correct, and then we would use it for a quick response vehicle and for transport during training and stuff, so it would be a multi-purpose vehicle.
Yeah, good. Very good. Thank you, sir.
Just one question. Under average number of firefighters per incident,
Correct?
I noticed in December of 2015, it was 14 and a half, basically, per incident. And in July, it was 7 and a half, basically. Is there a reason?
Quite often, we're struggling to get numbers of volunteers to show up on calls.
Are more people on vacation and so, or out because it's summertime? I mean, I'm just asking.
I don't have an answer for you.
Okay.
Before, if there was a call in town, we told the substations, don't even bother responding. Stay station 4, station 5, station 3, just listen to your radio, and if something else happens or that we need more assistance, then come in. I mean, now we're, even on in-town calls, we're getting those substations to man their vehicles and come in. So we're getting 2 people from south, 2 people from north. It's slimmer pickings than it's ever been before, and I can't give you an answer why.
Okay, I just noticed a steady decline since December. It was low before December, but it was not, you had September last year, you had 9.19 per incident. But if you look from December down, it's just continually, every month it's
And
dropping.
some of this, John, is hand calculated. So like on a duty chief response calls, we're only the duty chief because that's a 1-person response. And so you go through,
I see.
when I say you, the first half of these were prepared by the chief. The second half of these were prepared by me. You have to go through and mark out, like a call where only 2 people went on. It's not a multi-company response.
It's not a
So
multi-
those get marked out.
Right.
So this isn't a number that's spit out by the computer. This is a number that's actually manipulated by the person making the report, which is me. So there could be some differential in the way chief counted multi-company responses and the way I did too. It's not just a number spit out by our fire bridge program. So there could be a little difference in the way chief and I calculated it too, which we
Okay. I see the trend, and we want to stop that trend, that's all.
And I think that's Jeff's goal too.
Right.
Once again, I'm gonna give him kudos. He's, his first month, he worked 24 hours overtime. And I said, you did what? And thank God he took his comp time. And we worked out his schedule for the second month. He didn't have a clue he worked that kind of hours. Just because we just need those kind of hours put in to do it. So he's cutting back down to 40 hours a week for the most part this month. But still, weekend trainings, these special trainings, we've done more training in the last 2 months than we've done. So hopefully that's the answer, is get the people trained up, get them, more interested, keep them going.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you. Preventions.
Good evening. my things I've done this month. Under the inspections, the compliance of systems, of being compliant, there's 80%. Like I said before, we were like 5–10% when I started doing this, so we're improving everybody's thing. Also on the inspections, we're gonna start doing motels this month. I'm gonna do motels this month because of what happened in Newport. We still haven't got a final or even a preliminary report what happened there, so I wanna make sure we're on top of that, so we don't end up looking bad if we're not doing our job. Plan reviews, I didn't do any plan reviews, but I've worked with the city. They got a couple of big water projects, sewer projects they're gonna do on Rhododendron Drive and on 101. So we're gonna increase our our fire flows on 101 on Rhodey Drive here this fall, so we're working on that. Hydrant inspections are on there because that's what we're working on for ISO. I only have one more to do, and that's up at Southview. As soon as he's back from vacation, we'll work on doing that one flow, and then we'll be done with all the hydrant flows we need for ISO. So one step at a time there. Other than that, the grading for the ISO was changed from the 20th to the 26th due to scheduling on his part, so 6 days later than normal, which is okay for us. We're good to go.
More
Everything's
time.
going good. Everything's going ahead. Nothing really, no incidents or accidents were reported to me, so we didn't investigate any, so that's a positive thing, first time in a while. And Safety Committee's got a new member, Dave Beck, who's been doing this for 100 years, so it'll be great to have him on the committee to help us through the processes. Other than that, everything else is going well.
Thanks, Sean.
You're welcome.
Julie?
Do you guys have any questions on my written report so far?
We didn't make enough money last month, I noticed.
We didn't make hardly any last month. We've already made a little bit this month, so we're good. Just working on, we completed our audit last week for 2 days, and now I'm working on Western Lanes audit, which will be done in the week of 19th and the 23rd of September when I'm back. And we've been having our team meetings weekly. They're going really well. Managed to delegate
I saw where you had
several
it.
of them,
Oh, that's good.
and we did some more days, so that's kind of nice, and they're really excited about it. The budget, I know when we approved the IGA that we never really talked about which budget to use. Would you like me to bring back a resolution and the budget for the IGA for you guys to sign next one? Doesn't really change anything. We don't need a supplemental budget for it. It simply changes what it looks like for the expense and for the income, because we have an income coming in for the IGA.
Technically, the resolution you signed approved the other budget.
Yeah.
So this is purely a formality, but we wanted to bring it to your attention and get your direction.
Okay.
Sure.
Next month?
Yeah, that's good. Fine.
Other than that, I don't have anything else. I'll be gone for the next 2 weeks.
Something fun to look for.
So the only change in the budget would be that you'll show that the income coming in,
Yes,
that's the only change.
as far as I remember, yeah.
Yeah, and there may be some money towards a part-time employee.
But if we approve some, there's some money in the budget for that part.
Yeah.
There's no change in it, just remember when we gave you the budgets, we presented you one with and one without.
Right.
So this is the one with.
And it just, all you're doing is showing the money coming in.
Right. And we just want to have that by resolution. Okay, we'll bring that back. Thank you.
Okay, next item is ratification of bills. We have to pay the bills for the past month totaling $125,128.61, and the transfers.
Also
I need to declare conflict. I have it down there.
Also move to approve ratified bills. As stated by Mr. Scott.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. It's unanimous. Policy review of attachments concerning the district holidays and military leave.
So, as is the process, staff reviews and then reviews to you, with the holidays observed, the only modification we made in there, focused on some clarification on if New Year's and Christmas Day fell on a Saturday or Sunday, so we just kind of spelled out the day off there. The other policy, the military leave, pretty significant change in there. What we wanted to do is get legal counsel's opinion on that, and she did put together some recommendations for us, but if you read them, they basically focus on, adhering to the current ORS. What she did say, that the reason for doing that and writing your policy that way is that military leave and any things involving veterans tend to be political, and as a result, the laws change on them frequently. So by having language in your policy that says we adhere to the current ORS, it saves you from having to update your policies as you go along. So that was the crux of those modifications. So they're up to you. If you approve them, we can move them on into the next portion. So.
Any discussion?
I think we have legal counsel for a reason.
Right. No, it's just, that's cleaning.
And I think that the government's only going to let you do so much with military leave. You have to honor
We're just in compliance, so
them.
proceed, and I guess there's no further action for us this month, is there? Okay. The administrative IGA, we kind of talked about that. Did everybody read the objectives?
What we'd like to do is present you with, if you don't want this, if this is not information you want, we don't have to, we're going to be posting this on our website anyway, so it's available that way. Just giving you information to let you know where we're going, and I think it's also be a good time for Director Carnahan to
One of the things that we discussed was that, well, there were many different things, but one of which is if you move, you'll see deferred to August on some of this, or deferred to October. We would like to see on that the month it originated from. In other words, if it was in June or, so that we kind of have an idea. Doesn't mean you can't defer things, it just means that we at least know where they were deferred from. And we agreed that wasn't going to be a problem. The other thing that we discussed was every one of us has an alternate. And so we talked about an alternate for Officer Gray, and we decided PJ would be one. And I didn't seem to have any problem with it, so we talked about that. We also talked about, and there was some word changing, we have it was originally a complaint process, and we talked about a process improvement versus complaint.
More of a positive.
Well, and that was what we
Yeah,
brought up.
yeah,
That
okay.
and if you had a something to improve, send the recommendation on.
Got it.
So, whereas a lot of people will complain about something, but they don't have a resolution.
Right.
No problem. So,
Good point.
and that was,
I like that.
other than that, I don't think we covered a whole lot. The next meeting is September 1st, 5:30. We didn't agree on a place, but that can be worked out. Was it going to be Fireball or Western Lane?
Hey, we're gonna try and do it here.
September 1st, 5:30?
Yeah. It's the next meeting. And it's open to, it's just a work session. We make recommendations to both boards. And we had no recommendations to any of the boards at this point.
On to new business. Administrative Division Chief job description.
So, as part of the implementation plan and addressing the span of control and workload, our recommendation was that we create 3 divisions, of which one would be the administrative division and oversee the 2 employees. The past model within this fire district has been having a division chief, and so we decided to go back to that similar model. One of the things that you do need to keep in mind is that as we move forward with that, puts it into the division chief pay scale. And just some information for you on that. I've done some research to find similar positions, and what I found is that the challenge with it is that it's hard to find in districts our size. And when we say that, we have to keep in mind that this administrative division chief is a little different than our other administrative division chiefs in the sense that they're working for 2 districts. So in essence, their variable becomes larger. A comparable to this in both population, call volume, and functionality of the district was CCF&R, Columbia River Fire Rescue and St. Helens. And in talking with their equivalent of that position, although they do not call it a division chief, but it's essentially the same thing, they actually are in the 90s for that position. Grand Fire and Rescue is another one that's fairly close, actually a little smaller than us, and they're in the 70, 75 range in there as well. So that's just information for you, because I know that's come up in the past. What we would like to do is, and what was presented to you, is to have this job description approved so that we can move forward with it and make it official.
Any discussion?
Well, the only discussion I have is that this is not, when we're looking at a division chief, we've got combat firefighters, and both of the other division chiefs are combat firefighters, and have to meet all those qualifications. I don't see that it needs to be a division chief, that's all.
And your reason for that is?
Well, I think primarily my thought process is that we've got people that if they make a mistake, it's life and death. They get paid appropriately for that. And it is life and death out there. If they make the wrong decision, they end up going to jail. Same as the chief. Chief makes a wrong decision, he's not only financially liable, but he's criminally liable as well. And that's what a division chief is. I know Sean Barrett and Marvin have accepted that. Chief has accepted that. That's a pretty serious thing.
Yeah, just a thought on that. It doesn't have to do with the combat versus, but I think something to consider, and I think this is true really for any similar position, but please don't downplay the importance and the liability of human resource liability. There's a lot that can happen there, as well as the financial responsibilities associated with that. And I think in many ways, although I realize these are not comparing apples to apples, but the risk and the responsibility is still very great for that position, whether you call it a division chief or not. But oftentimes in fire departments, we tend to put our emphasis on our response, and we forget about the administrative portion. And the administrative portion oftentimes has just as much, if not more, responsibility as the response component as well.
Right,
So
because there's 2 different aspects of
the both are in place,
positions,
and I'm
right.
not saying anything about either one, but I'm saying let's not downplay one, and I think I'll throw it to probably the best person on the board to relate to this would be human resource issues with your business and your company. You can definitely relate to the risk that's associated with that, and any business owner and bankers can certainly attest to the responsibility associated with the financial components of that, particularly public money. But just want you to know that that's, as I move forward with this, I place a high value on that position and then as well.
Yeah, I agree with that totally. I think, it's the stature of the position, basically. And there's probably not the physical danger, but there's a lot of other responsibilities
Very much so.
for the welfare of the district.
You prevent lawsuits.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I understand, it's just totally two different things.
I.e. going through the audits right now and things, there's a lot involved in that, and we place a great deal of responsibility on our officer to do that, so I feel they should be equally compensated.
And, if the title of division chief is that big of a deal, there are division chiefs and chief officers, administrative chief officers in fire departments that will fall under administration and they're non-suppression, or they can be in prevention, which are also considered non-suppression. Like for instance, the fire marshal for Vancouver Fire Department is a non-suppression chief officer. We can adjust that, and that's not the issue. I think what we're trying to do is just more identifying the level of responsibility and authority that this position will have as it moves forward.
Okay.
Okay, so what do we need to act on this? I mean, we need to approve this, or what do we?
The job description's before you,
Okay.
but I mean, this is, you approve this, we make a recommendation, this is the structure that makes sense to me.
So we need a motion to approve the job description then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I will so move to approve the job description.
No second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Being none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Aye. Okay, so you said no, John?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a 4-1 pass. Thank you. Okay. Cedarwater District IGA.
And you got phone calls and emails about this as well, or visits. And the reason for that was that they wanted to start before we could technically get this IGA in front of them. So everyone that I was able to get in touch with was okay with it. I think
I
talked
assume
to-
it's a done deal now, huh?
Right, I think I heard from everyone, but essentially what they're looking for is a portable water tank, and it's up being used now. I don't know, Andy, do you have anything to kind of say?
It's still at the seat of water right now, getting decon. I think they're planning on getting all of this to take out Monday morning.
It's in the Enchanted Valley area. They anticipate 30 days. We use the same model for the last IGA for water hauling.
Okay.
The caveats in there are that this is our resource in an emergency. They understand and agree we get it as needed. And then the other caveat is that we assume no liability for the potability of that water.
Okay. So we've already basically given a verbal approval, so it's in process, and we don't need to do anything on that.
Okay.
Operations Chief job description.
So very similar to the administrative division chief job description, we're looking for approval. The difference in this is that the changes in this were driven by recommendations from some brainstorming that we did with 11 of our members. We've attached some of those comments. And the intention was to come up with the ideal qualities and qualifications for the next operations chief. And so we took those, I took those and applied those as I could into the job description change. The job description was taken in front of the Civil Service Commission last week. They made the recommendation to approve. The only question that they had was regarding the use of, or requiring them to sign a non-tobacco use waiver. And you probably saw the correspondence in there with legal counsel, and just for public disclosure, their recommendation was that based off of the ORS, if an agency has a bona fide reason to require respiratory health, i.e. use of a self-contained breathing apparatus, we may require them to be a non-tobacco user. So we are okay with that. I've sent that information on to the commissioner that had the question, and there's been further discussion on it.
This would be a combat fire.
Yes.
That's what I put it in there. Quick question, it says associate degree. Are we requiring that? I noticed that it said something about requiring it within 3 years.
Yeah, well, okay, so and this was interesting. You know, as we went through the session, asked, okay, what, you know, what are some things we should require at an education level? And the unanimous decision of the group was that we should have a minimum of an associate's degree. Well, when it came up, I said, well, you know, that's good. I'm certainly a proponent of education. We would never discourage that. But at the same time, you need to realize that if we make that a set requirement, that we may not have any internal candidates that qualify for this position. So would it be acceptable to make it a requirement, but add the ability to obtain? They were recommending 2 years, I recommended 3 years, so that within a 3-year time period you get it. Now, how difficult is that going to be? A person that is going to meet these other qualifications is probably going to have 90 to 95% of the fire-related pieces of this, which is over half of that degree requirement. They may have to go back and meet the math, writing, and other general ed requirements in there, but yeah, I think that's really what was driving it. Was yes, it's good to be able to have some of those skills in education.
So does that become something that the department pays for at that point?
Well, what we have currently in place is we have an education reimbursement program in place that says we will pay up to 50%. Now, because this is a requirement, becoming a job requirement, having it.
Right. Would you require they have a certain grade then too? I mean,
Well, to qualify for
Right.
reimbursement, I think we're probably going to be in a position where we say, well, we're going to pay for half of it.
So then, you know, if they have classes that are on duty time, do we pay wages at that point too?
Well, you know, this will be a salary position, and here's my philosophy on that. You know, I believe in, and I've had this same thing done for me. You know, as a salary employee, you put in a lot of extra time.
Right.
And I certainly believe you manage your own schedule. And I also believe in managing by objectives. So this is what it means in answers to that question. If you have a class that you can take, you need to take, and it's going to fall Monday through Friday during normal business hours, and you don't have other job-related commitments, or you can adjust those to get that class, I would be in support of that. I've done that. I took a psychology class that way, I took a public speaking class that way, and I think I took a math lab that way. So I think that's fine, but you know, at the same time, this position, and anybody who's really in this position has to understand that it doesn't, you know, you don't drop the ball on your other job responsibilities. The fact of the matter is that if this gets out, we may very well have candidates that have this degree or higher, and it may not be an issue.
Is there online classes too?
I
I mean, a lot of it's that way, okay.
Yes, you can
Okay, I was just curious that way.
just about get anything from any university.
You know, my only experience with this was through the ambulance, and we had an intermediate that became a paramedic, who was required to become a paramedic. And it cost $68,000 to backfill his shifts, pay for his classes, books, and transportation. So, it is a lot of money.
Right, the difference being that we don't, that's not a staff unit.
Right. It won't be back.
This
Okay.
is more of a management position, so,
Okay.
you know, I think we don't typically take our chief officers to staff an engine. But let's say hypothetically we did, and, you know, but that's very unusual that we have a chief officer as your normal staffing on there, as opposed to, say, a line firefighter. What line firefighters typically do in those situations is they get trades. So they'll have someone come in for the 2-3 hours that the class takes, and then they just go home, and they usually do it with somebody else who's taking classes, and they cover for them.
Next question is, because this is a combat firefighter position, and we will treat it just like we would any other combat firefighter position. We have the firefighters' physical, the psych evaluation, and the actual physical agility test, right?
And you'll see those are,
I just want to make sure, because it's a very serious position. This person, we want this person around for a long time.
Yeah.
and this will be the first time we've done this department has done this for this level.
So we have a motion to approve.
Also, to approve.
A second?
I got a question for, you got like a 2-week period of application period, is that long enough to get?
I think it's actually longer than.
Yeah.
No.
You
No, I
know,
lost it in my notes here, where when it opened, when it closed, it didn't seem like it was very long. I know we're trying to get Chief Tipper on the retirement zone, to try to get, you know, the best possible candidate out there.
you know, we can certainly adjust that, but just looking at that, really the biggest time frame consideration that, again, I could go in there and change that, it's not a big deal, was more of the time period between when the application closes to when we actually do some testing. And the reason for that is if you have out-of-state candidates and out-of-area candidates that have jobs, they need to make arrangements here. And it's, you don't want to call them up and say, hey, fly from North Carolina to here next week.
Right.
I don't know, work with it. Yeah, so we have, let's see, the hope is that if this is approved, we open it tomorrow, which is the 18th, and
Did you find it?
close September 6th.
What page is it?
It's right around Sheet Street Board.
Number between 1 and 8.
Me too.
It's like
So
pages.
that's about 2.5, but we can extend that, it's not that, it isn't that big of a deal. And that's good advice, that's why we get this stuff.
Yeah.
We recommend we extend that if we can.
Because I know one time we spoke, we weren't sure that we had, you know, a qualified candidate in-house. You know, this was some time ago when we spoke about that. If we gotta find somebody from out of the area, then we need to.
That's
maybe-
true, we need to
Maybe
make
give them
sure.
a chance to find it and get to us.
Well, yeah, that's gonna, again, that'll be more of a challenge for them showing up for the testing.
Right.
But these testing materials will be made available on the website, so you can access
Okay.
anywhere. But I think, you know, maybe we'll extend it, make it 3 weeks.
A little more would be helpful.
Okay. We do that.
Where are you to advertise for this?
Well, okay, and thank you for saying that, because that was gonna be something that I wanted your direction on. Currently, according to our civil service rules, we are required to publish it in a newspaper. And we have set up to publish it for this Saturday, Wednesday, next Wednesday,
In the local.
in the local news, and that's what we have typically done. Okay, so here are the philosophies on that. That is what we're required to do. And by the way, to put it in the Oregonian and these other places, I mean, it's very expensive to post those in there. What we can do is we can send in the job announcement to Western Fire Chiefs, which is, they are also connected with what's known as the Daily Dispatch, and they're kind of like a
So
resource
it hits some
center.
other
Right, and
media, okay.
those are the most effective places to put it, because those are the websites that are viewed by fire service personnel. You know,
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever scanned Oregonian for a fire service job. But, now, we do that, we certainly hit a broader audience. If we don't do that, we are still meeting the legal requirements, but we won't be drawing a larger audience, let's put it that way. I've been asking as many people as I can just to get their opinion on things in terms of, well, do you think we should try and get the largest audience possible for that, for the greatest pool, or, should we do what we can to keep it local? I'm interested in your feedback.
My opinion was, because this position is, is higher in rank and more important to the department. I agreed with, the local advertising on the firefighter one. I think the guys that volunteered and train in and be qualified to take that firefighter one position, yeah, by all means, let's keep it under wraps. But where this position is more important to the fire department, maybe we get a bigger pool to see if we can find somebody that just really fits and has got.
I'm gonna do the local and then, yeah, also, like you said,
I think, and this is also part of our strategic plan, but as we move forward, really the ideal is that as we enter and bring up our current firefighters, we find ways to help them get the qualifications, education, and experience, to make them competitive.
right.
And which you've also got some bonus points by being
That is correct, yes.
So even though they are maybe not what somebody out in blue is got for credentials, but we also give them some bonus points by being a volunteer or employed at the.
That is correct, yes. Yes, so that is built into our civil service rules, so there are veterans preference points, which we're required by law to have, and then we are allowed to also have a system in there for volunteer preference points.
So that'll help our locals also.
Yes.
A quick thought, operations chief is a real important part of the fire department. I mean, everything revolves around it, pretty much, the operations anyhow. I'd sure like to see us get a candidate that would fill that position and possibly train to take your replacement when you decide to retire. That's the way it's done in a lot of places, and you mentor, so we don't have to go out and search all over to find another.
I think we do that, and then I think we also continue to work on our internal people so that they can assume.
Well, absolutely, no more depth into the department.
Okay, we have a motion?
Had a motion, yep.
A second?
Motion on
To
job
approve
description.
the
Okay,
job
I will
description.
second that.
Okay, so a motion is second. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay, future agenda business, the next regular scheduled board meeting will be held on September 21st at 6 p.m. And from that, we're going to adjourn our regular meeting and go into executive session under ORS 162.660(2)(I) to review and evaluate the performance of an officer, employee, or staff member. We will reopen the regular monthly commission meeting, board meeting. And is there any more discussion for the board meeting?
No.
There being none, we will adjourn the board meeting at 7:35.